made the beat, boy.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Pretty Good People's Podcast. My name is Kelsey Coop Charles, and with me I have Antonio Bro Long Long.
What's up,
Bro
D?
Long, how you feeling this evening?
I'm doing good. How you doing, homie?
I'm in here. I'm hanging in there. Everything's lovely. Can't complain.
Oh, I hear the word lovely. I know that's a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Life is good, man. Nothing to complain about. Nothing to complain about. I'm on this side of things, so it's always good.
Yeah, anytime you're on the bright side, you good to go, baby.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
All right, all right. So here we are, episode 6. You ready to go a good show? I believe we're gonna have a good one for tonight.
Oh, most definitely. Let's go ahead and get this bad boy started.
All right. Well, first of all, as we always do, we want to highlight our sponsors for the evening. One of my good friends, Mr. York Horman, his store, Heroes and Dragons in Columbia, South Carolina, one of the largest comic book stores in the Southeast. Very good friend of mine, very good people. Loves introducing folks to the comic game and love to talk about it too. He's located down on Bush River Road. He's also, you can locate him on Facebook. If you have specific things that you're looking for, send him a note and he'll hit you back and he'll let you know if it's available. And also another one of my good friends, Mr. David Henson, along with some other folks up in Charlotte, coming on August 1st, they have the Charlotte Comic-Con, and they'll be at the Concord Convention Center. That's up in Concord, right up from the racetrack and the drag strip. Quick trip, one of the best one-day shows in the South. Have everything there from cosplay to old comic books, toys, statues, everything that you can think and imagine. And some very good artists will be there as well. If you go to charlottecomiccon.com or go to the Facebook site, it'll give you the list of all the artists and writers that'll be there for that show. That show lasts from 10 o'clock to 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And one last sponsor, and I love this one. Last year, because of COVID, it was canceled. But if you live here in South Carolina, it is a beautiful thing to see the return of Pig on the Ridge. It's a barbecue festival that we have in my hometown of Ridgeway, South Carolina. It'll be on November 5th and 6th. The activities start on Friday evening at sundown, and we will go through to about 11:30, 12 o'clock. But people will be out all night on Friday night. They'll be cooking. You get to go around and talk to different folks that's from all over the South that comes for this very good barbecue contest. And then the next morning they get up and they do the judging. We also have a car show, also have some activities from the local school district, also present some things during that time. And also you get a chance to purchase yourself some barbecue, but you got to get there early because barbecue does not last. That's how good it is. It goes out. But as Kelsey can attest, Friday night is where it's at.
Most definitely.
Been definitely missing it the last couple of years because of it's been between rain and COVID the last few years. We hadn't had it. But this year, we're proud to announce we will be doing live from Pig on the Ridge. So we'll be talking to some of the contestants, some of the promoters for Pig on the Ridge, and also some of the folks that just come out and just have a good time. It's one of the nicest festivals you ever want to go to. Everybody has a lovely time. Everybody enjoys themselves. And we're looking forward to it. Glad it's back. Thank God, COVID has slowed up enough that we can get back to this point. So looking forward to that come November. I will be plugging this again the closer we get to it, but just wanted to bring that out because it was just announced this week that we're putting it back on and we live and popping.
Well, most definitely, we're going to enjoy that. And I think you hit it right on the head, man. We need to get back to some type of normalcy. And it's always a good thing when you can have people come together. I mean, food and fun. I mean, what better, what more can you ask for?
You can't ask for anything better. And anybody that hasn't ever been Pig on the Ridge, it is live. That is the best way to say it. It is live. So come on out, enjoy. If you're coming through, just come on through, fall through. Friday night is the night. I will say that. But if you're not able to make it, you can just tune in and we'll make sure that you'll be able to see everything that's going on.
Definitely, most definitely. So we're going to jump right on into this thing. My topic this evening is, of course, the NBA playoffs. Now, I'm going to put this out here because I said it earlier in the season. I'm a diehard Miami Heat fan. You know, big Dwayne Wade fan. My Heat, they didn't fare too well this year, but that's okay. But I put it out there earlier in the year that Phoenix Suns will be in the finals. They got one more game to prove me right. Didn't say whether they were going to win or not, but they got one more game to prove me right. So these past few years, I mean, well, we'll back up a little bit. Last year, you know, the bubble changed things quite a bit. So everybody, I guess, had a pretty much level playing field. You have some guys that are perceived as practice guys. So, you know, when the camera's off, I mean, they do some amazing things. And you kind of saw that in the bubble. I mean, people were playing out of their minds, I put, for lack of a better term. You had no crowds to taunt you or whatever. And, you know, when the pressure's off, they balled out. This year, we got back to some type of sense of normalcy, and you start to see some of the better teams, you know, get back into it. I mean, last year was kind of hard. You're away from your family. It's kind of hard to get up for every game, you know. So I think last year, in my opinion, was probably one of the toughest years to go through and win the championship. It was easy, but at the same time, it was hard. It was mentally challenging because, I mean, you had to put yourself in that space and find some type of motivation to play. You know, you had fans that were, I guess, remote, but still wasn't the same. This year, we got back to it a little bit, and you kind of saw some of those teams get back to doing what they did best. I mean, so the playoffs, they're here. We're down to the final four teams. Been some surprises, you know. I mean, starting off in the play-in, you know, with Steph Curry, you know, they lost to the Lakers by what, a point, I think it was. They walk off three, and then they fell to the Memphis Grizzlies. Shout out to that young fella from Sumter, South Carolina. Her dad's there, John Morant. He represented the state very well. But you know, as we fast forward, I mean, here we are, final four teams. You got the Clippers versus the Suns, and you got, surprisingly, the Atlanta Hawks versus the Milwaukee Bucks. So
yeah, we go in depth on both of these right now. Let's start with the West, though. The Suns are up right now 3-2. They lost last night. Suns really couldn't, for some reason last night, really couldn't get into a rhythm last night. And then Paul George balled out last night.
Second half,
he balled out. And you know, to be honest, I didn't think the Clippers would have came out like that. I actually thought last night would have been the closeout, but yeah. Sometimes playing at home when you haven't been in that situation puts a lot of stress on you. But I sincerely look forward to tomorrow night when they should close it out in LA. You know, I don't think the Clippers going to have it in them because Kawhi's not playing. You're missing, that's a key piece that you're missing, even though, you know, a lot of players stepped up yesterday. Morris stepped up big time last night, you know, and held it down for a good while. So, you know, can he repeat that performance? Because in order for them to get back in it, you're really going to have him playing well alongside Paul George.
Yeah, they're definitely going to need him too. Surprisingly, Reggie Jackson. I mean, he always knew he had it in him, but Reggie Jackson has been a welcome addition to that team as well. I mean, with his scoring and his ability to create his own shot, you know, create opportunities for other players as well.
Well, let me ask you this then. Now that the Clippers have got back in it, and this is probably the second time because they came back in the Utah series as well, and the Dallas series, to be honest. Is it just athleticism and the players, or is Tyronn Lue a decent coach?
Well, I would say he's showing his coaching acumen now because he doesn't have a superstar. I mean, Paul George, yeah, I would say he's probably an A- tier player. If you want to put it there, I don't think he's quite at that A+ yet. He has potential to grow and room to grow, but he still needs more consistency. And Cleveland, I mean, it's hard to say because you have LeBron and Kyrie on your team, you know, and now you go up against that juggernaut in the West, but somehow they managed to pull that off and won the championship.
Well, we all know that was because Draymond got kicked out of the game. You know, if that wouldn't have happened, they wouldn't have won that series, man. And really, you gave the MVP to that series to LeBron, but that was really Kyrie's series because he put on a show in Game 6 and Game 7 for that one.
That's true. He balled out.
Yeah. One of the things I did see he did last night, he started out in the 2-3 zone, and that cut down the dribble penetration of Chris Paul and Devin Booker, and that kind of slowed the the sun's up. The Suns don't want to play half court ball like that. They want to be able to get up and go. And at the same time, if the shots are not falling, that's going to put you in a bad situation.
Yeah, but they're a versatile enough team. I mean, you think about it. I say Devin Booker has old man ball, and so is Chris Paul. I mean, the mid range game is, if it's on, I mean, it's pretty much unstoppable. But I mean, they haven't been really going. They feel a little, to me, it look uncomfortable taking those mid range jump shots now. They want to drive and score at the rim.
I think one of the things that's caused them some problems is Patrick Beverly is a pest. Always have been, always will be. And he's giving Booker and Chris Paul issues right now. I've seen Chris Paul make some uncharacteristic mistakes in the last 2 games that you really got to sit there and be like, this don't even look right.
Well, do you think it's Beverly, or you think it's in the back of his mind saying, I've never been to the finals, this is close. I got injured in Houston where I had a chance to actually dethrone the Warriors, which I think if he was healthy, they probably would have, but that's neither here nor there. Do you think that's in the back of his mind somewhere?
I think it plays a part just because of the fact Chris has been, for lack of a better word, he's been a snake bit player throughout his career. He's been on some very good teams, and we'll get into that a little later when we talk about the ups and downs of some of these teams. But he's been on some very good teams, and he's never been able to get over the hump per se. So I know that's always going to be in the back of your mind. If he doesn't do it this year, when will he do it? That's the big thing.
He'll be back next year, so it won't be then.
Right. That'll be the thing. So in your town right now, game probably in the next 5-10 minutes, getting ready to start the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't want to say miraculously, because I have thoroughly enjoyed watching the Hawks this playoff series.
Right.
I watched them get rid of my Philadelphia 76ers.
Well, Ben got rid of your 76ers, but that's another story.
We're going to talk about that too, man. I got to go in hard. I've been a 76ers fan. When I was born, before there was Michael Jordan, there was Dr. J, and that's why I'm a Sixers fan.
Well, let me ask this question. Just give me a little tidbit.
What you want, bro?
What do you think they should do with Ben? Just give me a little tidbit. We'll
got to go,
that deeper.
He got to go. He got to go, bro. And I'm gonna get hard down on this when we get to that point, because I can go a long time on that by myself. But in the Eastern Conference right now, I'm happy to see Giannis and the Bucks there. They've been building for the last few years, playing some decent ball. Even when Jason Kidd was their coach a few years ago, I thought they were an up-and-coming team. They finally reaching their potential. But I'm gonna be honest, Nate McMillan has done an outstanding job with the Hawks. And there's some talk that Nate might not even want to be the coach full time, because that wasn't what he signed up for. But I'm gonna be honest, man, the Hawks haven't been this good since Dominique, and that's almost 30 years ago.
They had when they had their little run with Horford. I mean, they were decent. They were decent.
If you go back a little further than that, just Steve Smith and that crew, they was pretty good. But consistently for the Hawks to be, in Hawks would make the playoffs, but they used to always make it as a 6, 7, or 8 seed.
Right.
And, one series they done. But to see them in the finals, I mean, that's good. And my thing is, you're doing it with a fella. He's an assassin. I can't put any kind of, when he wake up, he in range.
He's confident too. I mean, he doesn't take a bad shot no matter what. I mean, you saw him at Madison Square Garden, you saw him in Philly. He's not afraid of that role. He's not afraid to play that villain role, because I think he's playing free because he's not supposed to be doing what he's doing.
No, and to be honest, I think the Hawks are really a year ahead of where they're supposed to be. Just looking at their roster and looking at the players that they have, I figured next year was going to be the year they would do some things. But right now, they're playing some decent ball. I hate Trey went down with the ankle injury the other night.
Is he going to play tonight? I know he was questionable. I didn't see whether he was a go or not.
I don't know, because before we start recording, I never saw anything that say he wasn't going to play. But even if he does play, he's going to be limited. So some of the driving won't be there. But at the same time, you still got to respect that shooter's mentality. There's no such thing as a bad shot for Trey. So that's going to be the thing. So now, if you the Bucks, you got to shut down the rest of the team and keep doing what you've been doing. But the Bucks' biggest issue is Chris Middleton is off and on. It's off and on, and that's been one of the biggest issues that I can see when he's not playing well. That's one of those situations where everything falls on Giannis's shoulders, and that's not a good place for it to be.
Well, let me ask this. I'm gonna throw this in there too, not to interrupt. I'm gonna throw this in there. And my biggest thing was you've got one of the best, or a decent, well, I'll say one of the best two-way players at the position. Why not use Drew Holiday a little bit more?
Well, I think the reason why you don't use Drew, Drew proved in the last series that he's also an up and down player. I've seen Drew when he was in Philly. I've seen him when he was in New Orleans. Drew has a game where he'll go off, he'll score 25, 30 points. Then he have a game where he can't even get double digits. That's always been his bugaboo per se. Even though he's a good defensive player, really Trey's been abusing him.
Well, he did that. He does that to everybody.
I understand. But you the point guard, you should take that personally. If you are regarded as a defensive player, you know, a lot of folks try to put that on Giannis in the last series, why he wasn't guarding KD. But
mismatch.
The thing about that is, just because you play great defense doesn't mean you are a quote unquote stopper.
Right.
Giannis didn't grow up here like we did, where if you the man, you want to guard the other man on the other team. He grew up, he did what the coaches told him, and that's why he is what he is. He fundamentally, he's another Tim Duncan.
Right.
You know, he does the fundamental things. But as far as taking up the mantle to say that I'm the man, that's not going to be Giannis's game. But he can get anything he wants when he gets ready. That's the thing.
Right.
When he puts his mind to it.
Except 3-pointers. Keep him off the line.
But if I'm 7 foot tall, I don't need to be shooting threes.
Yeah, and that's part of me. Every time you shoot one, if I was a coach, I'd pull him out. Don't do that again.
Yeah,
that's not your specialty.
If I'm 7 foot tall, why am I shooting threes? I don't care if this the new NBA or not. I mean,
Lopez can do it. Yeah, Lopez can do it, but nobody else. I mean, you know, he can do it. But, yeah.
But the biggest issue I see in the East is if the Hawks can get by with Trey not being hurt next couple of games and extend this a little bit. I don't have any faith in Milwaukee's coaching staff. I just don't think they are prepared. They don't make adjustments the way that other coaches do. And right now it's just going to be tense anyway, because you're dealing with 4 coaches you're dealing with 3 coaches that have never been to this point. And then you're dealing with Ty Lue. And then Ty Lue is short-handed because he don't have his superstar. So he's making it up on the fly as it go.
He definitely needs a fun guy. Yeah, he needs him.
Yeah, so you're gonna need some fellas to do some things in order to get to the championship. But I kind of like it. You know, a lot of people is kind of, you know, upset because you don't have really big stars in the championship chase. But to me, this is real basketball here. You know, I'd rather see this. You know, since the Warriors ain't in it, you know, I'm glad LeBron ain't playing because I'm sick of it.
So I'm about to say, you throwing shade at Bron and you throwing shade at the King.
I'm gonna throw plenty at the King because I'm gonna tell you, he has shown me over the course of this year, he deserves everything that come his way because the stuff you did at the end of that series, where you lost to Phoenix, when you wouldn't, Chris Paul is your boy, and you wouldn't go dap him up, man. That leave a bad taste in my mouth, man. Bad taste, because that's the same kind of stuff Detroit did to the Bulls back in the day. Just walk off the floor and didn't congratulate them after years of trying to defeat them. So, you know, that's why there's still animosity to this day between the Bulls and the Pistons. Right. You know, he might have went back after the game, but I mean, when the camera's on, man, you show your true colors, you know, and you got other little kids that idolize LeBron and they see that.
Well, let me ask this question too. I mean, because I mean, at the end of the day, we idolize these guys, but and they're professionals, but they're people as well. Sometimes emotion may get the better of you, and you don't want to you don't want to have his legacy come down to the fact that, okay, yeah, I don't know whether it was treatment or whatever he was going through at the time, you know, he made a bad judgment call. And that's what we'll call it. I don't know the reasons. I don't know the person's reason. I'm not getting involved in all that. But so you're saying that kind of tarnishes his reputation a little bit because whatever he had going on personally, I guess that came to the forefront versus, congratulating other team's sportsmanship. I mean, we've all done it at one point in time. But yeah, you're the face of basketball. So I mean,
Well,
I can understand it.
for me, I'll just say it like this: LeBron has tarnished himself for me when he left Miami. The way he left Miami, Dwayne Wade made a lot of sacrifices for you, and you left Miami to go back to Cleveland. And the thing is, everybody heaps a lot on LeBron, but you don't win them 2 championships without Dwayne. You should have had 3, but you nutted up against Dirk. And that's going to be one thing we always going to bring up. You lost to Dirk, bro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it took going to Miami for, I guess, LeBron to have that killer mentality because, I mean, I think the best thing that happened for Dwayne Wade was he got drafted number 5. He had a chip on his shoulder that brought out the beast in him. Off the court, you say whatever you want to say about him on the court, he was a dog. I mean, he did what he had to do, and he made a name for himself. I mean, while everybody was comparing LeBron and Carmelo, Dwayne Wade, he was just taking all that in, putting that chip on the shoulder. One of the greatest finals performances in 2006 when they were down 2 and
most definitely.
He cemented his legacy there. I mean, if he never won another one, I mean, but you saw what he did time and time again. If you don't believe me, ask Kendrick Perkins, ask Varejao. They know.
They know who he is. They know who he is, man. That's the thing. But let's put a bow on this Eastern Conference. We'll get to LeBron in a little bit. Okay. I think the Hawks going to continue to get better, even if they win or lose this year. They're going to continue to get better.
Their second best players are 200s out, with Dominguez. So I mean, they can only go up from there.
Yeah,
a couple more key pieces. They'll get there.
And I think with the Bucks, win or lose, they got to give Giannis some more help, man. Yeah. That's going to be prevalent because he didn't sign the Supermax. He ain't going nowhere. So,
yeah. What do you think about the Nets? I know they got bit with the injury bug. What do you think they're going to do next year? You think they'll come out the East? It's going to be them and the Bucks in the conference finals? Or?
Well, to take from the late Denny Green, the Nets are who we thought they were. I never was one of those that thought the Nets was going to make the finals. Partly because of the fact anytime you put 3 superstars together, it takes a good year to let that thing mesh and get right.
Right.
But then you put 2 head case superstars with KD, and I really wasn't thinking they was going to go anywhere because one of the things that has been known, Kyrie is injury prone and James Harden shrinks in the playoffs. And what we saw was Kyrie got hurt. James Harden supposedly got hurt. But again, he isn't up to the task. It has been, I think James Harden been in the league 10, 11 years now.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
And it's the same narrative every time. He cannot come to play in the playoffs. KD, something special, can't take nothing from him. Right. He is one of the all-time greats.
So you're saying Harden probably will always be relegated to as a great Robin, not Batman?
I never see him leading anybody to a championship. Nobody you can put him with will ever win a championship with James Harden. And then plus the fact that their coach is Steve Nash and their assistant coach is Mike D'Antoni. That system doesn't work in the playoffs. It only works in the regular season. So what I see happening, if they continue to keep everybody intact, they'll win 60, 65 games during the regular season. Get in playoffs, it's going to be the same thing all over again because the game changes there. The game becomes more of a set it up. It's not as free flowing because everybody is intent on playing defense.
Right.
Everybody knows what they're supposed to do. yeah, granted, you got one of the greatest scorers in the history of basketball playing for you. He showed you in game 7. I can't do it by myself.
Well, I mean, like Leon said the best, ain't no I in team.
True that. He can't do it by himself. And I think what happened was he took a bad shot on that last shot, and it's mainly because, man, I'm tired. I've been toting these boys, the whole time,
Yeah. But that's the burden he has to bear, though. I mean, because his greatness got him there. So, he's going to be equally praised as well as criticized. He's like the quarterback of that team. Quarterback's always going to get the praise for winning and always going to get the criticism for losing. He did everything he could.
But to be honest, I don't think KD deserves any criticism, because KD did everything he could possibly do to get them where they were. The problem is, where was Blake? Where was James Harden? Yeah. Did DeAndre Jordan even play?
He did not.
Okay, so that shows you right there, Nash and D'Antoni don't know what to do, and that has been prevalent since they've been in the league. They don't know what to do. They one year, they lost to the Lakers when they was in Phoenix. They couldn't get over the hump, and they had a 3-2 lead on the Lakers.
Yeah.
So it's their coaching style, and it's that style of offense that's never gonna, at some point, I don't care how much you score, and this goes all the way back to the Showtime Lakers. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have to play defense
at some point, right?
At some point during the game. If you can't get a stop, it don't matter if you go up and down the floor all day long. You're gonna have to play defense at some point.
Well, I mean, playing defense in today's NBA is different from where we grew up watching. I mean, you're talking about Bill Laimbeer, Dennis Rodman, you're talking about Charles Oakley, those guys. So, there were some battles back in the day. Now, I mean, if you touch somebody, if they brush by you, hey, that's a foul. So it's kind of hard to play defense in this league.
Now, I'm gonna say one of the things I was kind of proud of, the Eastern Conference still played Eastern Conference basketball. It's gonna be physical. It's gonna be, you got to see some blood before you get a foul call in the East. In the West, that's a different story. But in the East, you're gonna have to take some shots. And if you ain't got the ability to take them shots and keep going, you're not gonna win, because they're not giving you a call in the East.
No.
And that's how we grew up, though. You got to make your calls in the East. In the West, you play touch ball, but in the East, that's not the way you play.
Well, you got the big names in the West, so definitely gonna protect that.
Yeah, but the thing is, in the East, you're gonna have to adapt to how the game is being called. And if you see the game is gonna be physical, you're gonna have to adapt to that. And again, I take it back to Nash and D'Antoni. They cannot play that style of ball in the playoffs, because it already gonna slow down in the first place, because you ain't gonna be able to run all day long unless you got a team that's turning the ball over.
Right.
All right. So
this question, and we're gonna move on. Team for next year. Who you think will be the up and coming team next year? Not necessarily making the playoffs, but it's gonna make some leaps and bounds and improving.
Well, in the East, I'm gonna start with the East, and let's focus on that. Right now, I like what Charlotte has right now. They need some more length. They need another score, but I think they got enough to put something together that I'm not gonna say they can win the first round. I'm not saying they're gonna make conference finals, but they can win the first round. They growing. If Mike stays on this consistency that he's been showing in the last few drafts and getting decent players to fit what they want to do, I like where they're going. The Knicks need another scorer. Don't know where he's gonna come from, but they need another scorer from somewhere. But the Knicks' biggest problem is this here. You got Tom Thibodeau as your coach. One of the things that has been prevalent with Tom Thibodeau is they play real hard during the regular season. Come playoffs, they burn out. The reason why they burn out, they play hard during the regular season.
Exactly.
They don't take a night off. Playing that style of basketball is all well and fine. Just isn't prevalent once you get to the playoffs, and then once you see the same team, you get exposed. And what happened was, in this last series, Julius Randle got exposed. He had to guard. He had to come out of the post, and he had to guard some folks, and that exposed him. So that's a big issue there. My team's on the decline in the East right now. Boston. Why they got Tatum and Brown? they ain't bringing nothing else back. And they went out last week, made this trade, bring Al Horford back. All that is a locker room presence. Al Horford isn't going to provide you anything other than veteran leadership. The Celtics need a whole lot.
Yeah. Well, I think they got hurt last year. I think they got the talent. They just need an identity. Jaylen Brown was hurt, so it fell on Tatum. I think he did a decent job of doing what he needed to do, but yeah, I think they've got the core to do some great things. They just, it might be coaching, and then they just need to find their identity. What are they going to be? You know.
Well, that's going to be the other thing too. Now that Steven's gone upstairs, who's going to coach him? The guy that they got, I think he was on the bench with the Nets. But I don't think that's going to be, good enough because as you see right now, Atlanta's a player now. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what the Sixers do, that's going to make a big difference. I'm going to get on this in just a minute, but, that's going to be the thing for Boston. How can you hang? You in the Atlantic Division with the Sixers and the Nets. So you're going to have to make some moves, or you're going to have to do something to get somebody to come in there because you got to deal with them before you worry about dealing with the rest of the East. So that's the way they're at. And then my next team, that's on the decline, I think the Heat are, to be honest. I think they overachieved last year in the bubble.
Big playing out of their minds.
Yeah. I think they played out of their mind in the bubble. And because of that, it overshadowed a lot of things. Jimmy Butler is a good player, but Dragic is old. You're gonna have to find another scorer from somewhere. That's gonna be Bam does a great job down low, but
he's not gonna carry a team.
He's not gonna carry it. He's an energy player, and if the energy ain't there, they're gonna struggle. That's just the way it is.
But what about with Oladipo? I know he stays hurt, but I mean, if he's healthy, where's that put them?
At best, I would say fourth. At best, I just don't think over 82 games, and they'll be back on the 82 game schedule next year. I just don't think they can win. In the East, in order for you to be in the upper echelon, 1, 2, or 3, you got to win at least 50 games. I just don't see 50 games
out of the roster.
Out of that, unless they make some moves. And not saying that Pat not gonna make a move, because Pat is the king of putting the team together, but
that's true.
I just don't see it. They need a point guard that's a point guard, not a scorer. They need a point guard.
Right.
That's one of the big things I see with them.
All
right. And now let's get on these Sixers.
Okay.
Joel Embiid is a great player when he's healthy, which is rarely. Okay.
Yeah, about 40, 50 games. Yeah.
When he's healthy, he can dominate. He can do a lot of great things. Don't take anything from him. He got to stay healthy. He's got to get in better shape. He did a good job this year coming in, being in better shape, but he still got hurt. He's injury prone as well.
He's too big, man. That's the problem. That's a big boy.
I know you're a big boy, but he probably, I know he don't want to probably do this, but getting down to probably about 260, 255, somewhere in there might do him better than being at 270. Because he's 7 foot tall, sometimes he just looks like he's, really winded going up and down the court. Right. And then my biggest issue with him is get your ass down on the block and get the ball and stop shooting threes.
He's effective at the three, though. I mean, he shoots at a nice clip for a big guy.
I understand. Every once in a while, you do the screen roll, you pick and pop, but you do it too much. Sometimes you rely too much on that jumper, and sometimes, especially when you got nobody guarding you, you need to be on that block and you need to be dominating. If you ain't gonna be on the block, at least come to the elbow and see what you got. You know what I'm saying? Right. But that's only one part of their problem. Their biggest issue
is the Docker bin. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. I'll do this sharing that blame.
They 1A and 1AA. I'll put it like that. I'm gonna start with Doc before I get on Ben, because like I say, that's gonna be a little while. Doc has proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that while he can coach, Doc can't coach talent. We've seen that. We've seen this story for the last 6 or 7 years. You had a Clipper team that was poised,
loaded,
a few years back. Lob City, you changed them boys' whole outlook and how they played, and them boys declined significantly over that time. They were the show in Los Angeles at the time because everybody wanted to see it. And Chris Paul, Blake, and Lemon Pepper Lou and DeAndre. That was a Crawford. That was a loaded team.
Montrez Harrell. Yeah, Doc
should have won. He didn't. Okay. When Doc did win his championship, you had a veteran-led squad by KG, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce, and they won that. They won that ship. You know what I'm saying? Because you had to respect who those cats was, and would have had a second one had Kendrick Perkins not got hurt.
Yeah.
That.
I mean, they were saying.
But even with that one, I put that one on Doc too. Okay. Because you had Rashid, so it wasn't like you ain't had a suitable backup for Kendrick Perkins.
But they were saying with the Clippers, I mean, they had some internal turmoil. Those guys, they weren't getting along. Now, I don't know if Doc could have squashed that or whatever, but certain players had certain, I guess, privileges over others. So I don't.
Well, I think Doc made that behind that because you brought your son in. That wasn't cool. Austin Rivers. He's never been great, so why bring him in? That didn't look good, and that caused the issue. But looking at this here, there's no way, even with what they had, there's no way they should have lost to the Hawks this year. Even with Trey balling out, there's no way you should have lost to the Hawks, and that just signifies you not making the right adjustments, you're not doing the right things that need to be done during the course of the game.
Bench being.
Bruh, I'm gonna tell you like this. Ben Simmons is 6'10", playing point guard that don't never handle the ball. So what can you do if you don't never handle the ball? That is one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. It's one of those things where, what do? You can't shoot. You don't even know which hand you want to shoot with. You can't tell me, and from things I've been hearing coming out of Philly is, they baby him all during the year and everything like that. Instead of giving him, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. They just allow him to do what he want to do. And that's the dumbest thing I ever seen in my life. This is another max player that's getting max money, but you can't give me 20 points.
15 rebounds.
You can't give me 20 points because you can't score. You can't shoot unless you're 3 feet away from the basket.
Well, if that's the case, seek out Olajuwon to put him through the school. I mean, hey, it is what it is. I mean, when it comes fouling him, I mean, they're going to hack him. That's a whole other story, but at least get his footwork right down low if that's how you're going to utilize him.
Bruh, you're in Philly. You have some of the greatest players in NBA history that live in Philly.
That's true.
If he needs help, there is no need not to. Where is Dr. J? Where is Allen Iverson? These are two of the greats that need to be working with this boy. We talking about practice, man.
Practice.
He needs.
The way I see it, I mean, you got Seth Curry who can stretch the floor. Embiid is on the block. You put him on the other side. I mean, it's no excuse. There's no reason why he shouldn't be.
No reason why he shouldn't be better than what he is. This is his fourth or fifth year.
Now he was 2018, right? This is
18. This is third or fourth year.
Fourth. He'll be on his fourth next. Yeah.
It to me, it's just ridiculous that he's at this point that we even got to have this conversation. And the bad part about it is you gave him max money and he can't do nothing for you. And you can't trade him because you're not gonna get equal value back. And who's gonna be crazy enough to take him? That's gonna be the thing.
Well, it depends. It depends on what they need him to do. If you just need him to guard and rebound, I think he'll be more than happy with that role.
Money don't dictate that. Money don't dictate that. And see, what you got to understand is this here, because your superstar stays hurt most of the time, somebody got to pick up the slack. And Tobias Harris is not it. Okay. It's not it. So somehow, some kind of way, you got to do something.
Let Curry cook. That's the only thing you can do. He's proven that he's ready for it. He's ready to step out of the big brother shadow.
I think he can, but the biggest part is if Embiid's not in the game to take some of that pressure off the outside shooting, you're not going to get open shots, because he, unlike Steph, I don't think Steph can take anybody off the dribble and get to the hole.
Yeah, and they command that attention.
Yeah, he's not going to do that. So let's jump over to the Western Conference and look at the other semifinalists in the Western Conference. Utah, good core. I think they're going to be good for a little while. Biggest problem is just Donovan Mitchell.
Right. Gobert. Ingles disappeared. I mean, Ingles, he was a solid player. I won't say he's upper tier, but he was solid. But for whatever reason, he disappeared.
Well, the thing about Utah is always going to be this here. You're never going to get anybody to come play with you in Utah. Nobody wants to go there. So you got to build through the draft. And if you're not drafting decent players, you're not going to get there.
Well, Conley's there. I mean, but he was hurt.
Well, so, Conley is injury prone. So that's why he's not in Memphis.
So, yeah.
You know? So that's the other thing. Denver, Jamal Murray was hurt. I think that was a big factor in that series. Yeah. Jokic is great, but the thing about it is Jokic is another big man that plays too much outside. Get down on the block, dominate. He got an inside game. I don't understand. I know you run everything through him, but you run a high screen and roll all day. That's not gonna get it in the playoffs. You're gonna have to change up your game some kind of way. So they got to find a reliable wing at some point to go with Jamal Murray that's going to give you anywhere from 15 to 20 on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
So that'll be them. Looking at Portland.
Rebuild. It's time to rebuild. Break that up. Rebuild. Well, I mean, they kind of did that last year or year before last, but the problem is McCollum, you only gonna get so much.
CJ McCollum is the type fella, he'll get you 20, 30 one night. Next night, it might be 15, 18. It's not consistent. No. Dame is that team. That's all that team. Nurkic is terrible. They got to do some things. I don't know what they're going to be able to do just because of the fact, Portland is one of them out of the way places. You may get some players to come up there, but I don't know if they're going to be able to keep Dame or not.
Who took that job? Who's got that job? Chauncey
Billups got that job. So, I mean, Chauncey has the cachet to bring somebody there, that want to play. But Dame's going to need a lot. And then you in the West, I mean, at best, you're talking 6, 5 in the West. It's going to be hard, unless you got 2 more superstars that are going to come team up with you. It's going to be hard for Dame.
So should he count his losses and ask to get out and go elsewhere?
From everything I hear, he loves it up there. He enjoys being up there. I just don't know. He's another supermax guy,
but at what point are you content with staying in the city you love, or do you want to chase that chip?
I think he's at the point where he wants that chip, but I'm gonna be honest. If he leave, he's not going to anybody good. He's going to end up going someplace that's in the middle. Right now, the Knicks are clamoring, but I wouldn't go to the Knicks for nothing. You'd be the biggest thing in New York, but I ain't playing for the Knicks, man. I just can't see it.
Well, you think if you go to the Bulls, that'll help out? The Bulls got some young talent. The thing about the Bulls is, if you go there and you are great, there's an expectation there. There's a long shadow that hangs over the Bulls, and that's a shadow that is hard to live up to. I mean, yeah, even if you win a championship, I mean, I'm pretty sure LeBron can attest to that. Yeah, he won one with the Lakers, but you're talking about Kobe with 5. You're talking about Magic with 5. They're used to that dynasty. You know,
LeBron will never be considered a Laker. I mean, he playing there, but he never he couldn't even get in the starting 5 of the greatest Lakers. He wouldn't even come off the bench of the greatest Lakers. That's just how deep the Lakers are.
yeah,
You know, that one chip ain't nothing, you
no,
know.
that's just a notch on his belt.
Yeah, that's all that is.
But I think that'd be different for Dame in Chicago. Though. I mean, you think about it, he's got Kobe Markkinen, you've got Zach LaVine, you got some good talent there, and I think he may be able to pull it. They would definitely be playoff contenders.
Oh,
Now,
they definitely
after that, but
they if he went there, they would be 4, 5, maybe even 3 in the East.
do you think he could pull them? He could wheel them out of the East. He could bring them out of the East with what they have right now.
If they didn't see the Nets early, I'd say yeah. If they didn't see the Nets early, that team could beat Philly. They could beat Atlanta. As long as they don't see the Nets early, they probably could get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and probably either you're gonna end up playing the Nets or the Bucks. Nets and Bucks are gonna be 1-2 for the next few years. So
you think they can keep the Bucks together long enough?
Everybody signed. I don't see how you're not gonna be able to keep them together. You went ahead and got ahead on Giannis before he got to the Supermax. You gave him a max deal, but you got him early. You got Middleton on a decent deal. You know, you don't have anybody else that you really got to break the bank for. Brook Lopez is going to be there, so I mean, you know, they solid. You know, the Nets, I think they're going to have problems next year because one of them has got to go. You just don't know which one, but one of them going to have to go.
Kyrie might go. I mean,
and to be honest, Kyrie might go cross the bridge and go to the Knicks. That's just how his mind thinks. So that'll be the thing for that. One more team in the West we'll talk about, Dallas. Luka Doncic. I never would have said, you know, when he first came in, he was going to be like this, but
yeah,
Luka is nasty. Only problem with Dallas is they never going to be more than what they are. If Jason Kidd isn't able to pick the type players that he wants, it's not going to work.
I mean, I think there was somebody reported there may be a rift between Porzingis and Doncic. So I mean, because to me, I don't know, Porzingis was a waste of space this year. He didn't do anything for me. It's very underwhelming. Very.
The better out of that trade was getting Tim Hardaway Jr. It wasn't Porzingis. You got the better because Tim Hardaway Jr. was playing ball. Porzingis is terrible.
Yeah.
You know, again, not trying to brand European players, but all European players don't play the same.
No.
You know, just because you big don't mean that. No. You know, the biggest European player I saw that came in and balled out was Sabonis. And Sabonis was old when he got to the NBA. If we would have got a young Sabonis, you know, that would have been nasty. But Sabonis, the only one that has came, a big man that came and just dominated the league. But who you got for your up and coming teams out of the West?
I want to say Memphis. All
right, there with you.
But I think they can do it. New Orleans, I don't see it. I think they're okay, but what I mean, Zion wants out. I don't know. Don't know, bro. I'm gonna stick with Memphis.
I'm gonna tell you one of the things with New Orleans. Well, let me back up. Memphis, Ja, sky's the limit. Not saying that because he one of the homeboys or whatever, right. But his game is growing as he is growing. Right. He is becoming a factor.
Yeah, he just plays without fear. Yeah, he plays without fear. That's what I like. Reminds me of young D Wade, fast, explosive. He just doesn't have the size D Wade came in. D Wade came in what 6'4", 220, 230. You talking about a wide receiver? You know, a hybrid linebacker playing point. I mean, shooting guard. So, I mean,
that's the difference. But one thing is noticeable about Ja. He is a he got the right kind of mentality, and that is what I like about him. That 47 he dropped in Utah, that wasn't by accident, man. That boy got game. He just needs some help.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
all he needs. As far as New Orleans, Zion is going to be a problem, and not because of anything health wise. If his family is doing this kind of chirping, that's not a good look for him going forward in the league. New Orleans got a good core, but the thing is, you messed up this year. You had one chance to make it right. I didn't think you should have got rid of Alvin Gentry last year. I thought you should have kept him and not went to Stan Van Gundy. Stan Van Gundy is not a coach, okay? He has proven that throughout his career. Yeah, he made it to the finals with Dwight Howard and the Magic, but no, like Shaq said, the master of panic. He is not a good coach. Somebody for that team should have been a young, dynamic, young coach, or somebody that was going to run, because you got the type horses on that team that can run all day long.
Right.
And it's going to be a wonder. I don't know if Sam Cassell's in the running for this. I think that would work. I think Sam Cassell would be a very, very good coach for them.
What about bringing Avery up from college?
I think that will work too. Avery will work too. Avery, I think, did a good job with Dallas when he was there. He just couldn't get him over the hump. But at the same time, I think Avery is one of the better communicators in the league. And then he got juice. You know what I'm saying? He got rings. Make these cats listen. They know who he is. They know what he done. If you've been growing up watching basketball, you know him and the Admiral and Tim Duncan. They always was in the ship. Now, if he doesn't go there, now I think if Becky Hammond wasn't ready to take over for Pop, I would say he would be the one to take over in San Antonio. But I think Becky's gonna get that job in San Antonio. So I mean, if he's gonna come back to the NBA, I think that's the next best place for him to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And as far as next year, I'm just gonna go and lay it out here right now. I'm saying it now. If Clay comes back healthy, the Warriors are winning the West.
But they need one more. I think that at this point they need one more player.
Nope.
Don't think so?
Nope. The babyface assassin, Clay, Draymond,
running point,
Wideman, and Wiggins is enough for them boys to win the West.
So do you think if when Clay gets back, that'll take some of the pressure off Wiggins, because he's kind of up and down?
Yeah, because you can't guard him. You can't guard both of them. You can't guard Clay and Steph. No. He should be wide open. He should be getting his average, his yearly average should be anywhere between 15 and 22 points when Clay gets back. Because the thing about it is, you ain't gonna stop. Clay is the most dangerous man in the NBA.
That's true. 37 and a quarter, 61 and 3. Yeah.
He the most, you can say what you want about anybody else. Clay is the most dangerous man in the NBA. When he is healthy, Clay will get you 70 and you wondering when Clay scored 40.
And he'll play two ways. He's a great defender as well.
Right. So that's why I'm putting them in championship next year, because if they come back healthy and they play to their capabilities, nobody in the West is gonna slow them down.
So if Steph plays the way he played this year, Clay comes back, it will be a problem.
I'm telling you, they are poised to be a problem. If it wasn't for injuries this year, they was gonna be a problem. Because look at where they were. They got hot the last 2 months of the season, and that put them in prime competition. And it's almost like, okay, we know we missing a significant piece. People don't realize they didn't need KD. KD went to them.
Yeah, definitely.
They didn't need KD because you already had KD on the bench.
Well, Draymond already told him we won before you got here.
Right. Clay is the man. I have watched them since they've been together, those two together, and they play so well with each other. I mean, Clay is the type fellow, he might not score any points in the first quarter.
Right.
Second quarter, 25. You know, and that's just how they do. You know, they are the most dynamic, most terrorizing backcourt in the league.
Yeah, and the beauty is they celebrate each other. They don't care who gets it because they know they're going to at any given time, anybody can get it. So and they don't worry about that.
See, with having Clay back, that puts Draymond squarely back at that point forward role, and they run and they get to their spots. And if they get look, them two when they wake up in the morning, they in range. So you already know how it go.
So why do you think Draymond, or do we take for granted the basketball mind of Draymond Green? Draymond is he got a really high basketball IQ.
I'm gonna say it like this here, and you know, some people probably ain't gonna approve with it, but I'm gonna say it like this here. I think Draymond is the modern day Rick Mahorn. Rick Mahorn gave you good minutes, quality points, but he did all the little things that the Pistons needed him to do to put them over the hump.
Yeah,
you know, and that's what Draymond does.
Yeah, Draymond put it in perspective. I was watching the shop the other day, and they said, and I'm just paraphrasing this, you know, they criticized Draymond because they say he doesn't shoot enough, or he doesn't shoot when he needs to. But he said, I've got Steph and Clay on the team, and you know that lets me know that people don't know what they're talking about. Why would I take a shot? I mean, even if I'm wide open, if they halfway open, they got a better chance of making it than I do. I mean, it makes sense. I mean,
that is correct.
You know.
That is correct. Now, I will say if Warriors do make it, they're going to have to improve their bench play. But I still think right now, as far as a starting five, they probably got the strongest starting five in the West if Clay comes back healthy.
All right. So I know we're running out of time and we got 5 more minutes. So let's close it out on your favorite team or your favorite person. And I'm going to get the floor.
Before I get to here, I'm gonna throw 2 more out there that I feel like is on the decline. Okay, the Timberwolves and the Thunder, and the reason why I say both of them, I'm gonna say for Minnesota, Karl-Anthony Towns. I ain't got to say nothing else. Okay, we talk more about his girlfriend than his game. That's all I need to say. OKC, you done got rid of all your stars. Ain't nobody coming there to play. What you gonna do? And I'll throw one more team in there, throw the Pelicans in there. Reason why I say those 3 teams, all 3 of those teams are up for relocation. Because what's gonna happen is the NBA wants to get back into Seattle badly. They don't want to expand. So the object is to move a team into that market. Okay. More often than not, I would say it's gonna be the Pelicans, Thunder, which is the old Supersonics, or Minnesota.
OKC. I'll go ahead and put it on record. OKC will be the next Seattle team.
I think, and to be honest, they never should have moved out of Seattle in the first place. No. You know, the NBA needs Seattle. The Supersonics was one of the great teams in the NBA. You know, never should have moved.
Were it not for Jordan in there.
Well, I understand they would have had a championship, but it's a lot of people that say if it wasn't for Jordan in them, they would have had a ship.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what I see going to happen to those 3 teams. And this is probably going to be the year, either this year or next year. That's that relocation. I'll tell you another place they want to go other than Seattle. They want to get into Las Vegas too. So you might have 2 teams that might be on the move, and neither one of them is. I have no problem with neither one, because if you go back to Seattle, that's really where they need to be, and then if you go to Vegas, hey, just an extra stop on the trip.
That won't be a good look for the NBA. You talking about 13, 15 guys with millions? That's not a. Can you imagine some of the stories? It won't come out now.
It won't come out, but when they retire, it's going to be some stories now. I can tell you that.
Most definitely.
But the NBA, look, hockey's doing well in Vegas. The Raiders have done decently in Vegas. This will be the first year they have fans in the stands at the Raiders game. I want to see how that really, really looks. If Vegas can support that, I see Vegas getting a team.
But they'll support it. That's no problem.
Well, they love basketball, but you know, UNLV is not the running Rebels no more. So I mean, they need something in Vegas during the winter to set their fences on fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the favorite team that I love to talk about.
Yeah, you LeBron and the Lakers, and as Charles Barkley would say, street clothes, Dave.
Street clothes. I don't know what he gonna have to do, man. He stay hurt. It has been consistently. To be honest, all players from Kentucky stay hurt. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it starts there or whatever, but there seems to be. AD is a good player when he's there, but he's another one of these players that don't want to be a center, which I don't understand. You playing for the greatest center team ever, and you don't want to play center. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. Stop shooting threes.
That's not his skill set.
Bruh, ain't nobody else banging him in the West, man. He ain't in the East. Ain't nobody else banging in the West. Go on down there, man. Look, even if you spend half your possessions down low, you should be able to get 20 points just down low by yourself. Yeah. Or go to the line, 10, 15 times a game, but you ain't doing nothing when you out there. And then you already see that your body can't stand being out there playing that outside game like you a guard. But in his defense, he was a point guard until he got in his senior year of high school. Yeah, so that's why he don't know about get down there and do something. But again, the Lakers have enough people that you can lean on to say, hey, let me teach you this, let me teach you that.
I would take it a step further. Find James Worthy. Training the big game James. That's all you need. Model your game after him.
That was big game James was same size, 6'10", could dribble just a little bit, but he had enough dribble to get him to the hole, and he could post you up, shoot the jumper, and do the same things that he can do. Yeah. But the biggest problem the Lakers have is LeBron. And the reason why LeBron still think he's 20 years old. LeBron, you old now, bro. Your game got to adapt. You got to look, if you want to be, first of all, let me start with this here. Stop all this GOAT conversation because he ain't nowhere near the GOAT, okay? He ain't even in the conversation, ain't even in the parentheses, ain't even in the eye, ain't even nowhere. Stop it. Don't say it no more. Shut up, okay? That's number one. Number two, you need to adapt the way Michael did and the way Kobe did when they got later in their careers. Get on the block. Learn how to shoot a turnaround jumper. Learn how to post up. Pat Riley tried to show you to do that in Miami. You didn't want to do it. But it was effective when you was doing it in Miami. Because one, ain't nobody big as you, LeBron.
That's true.
Post a man up. Learn some move. I'm not saying you got to be Akeem Olajuwon, but you should be able to get on the block, catch the ball, drop step, lay it up, dunk, hook shot, turnaround jump. If you're not doing that, stop. You cannot continue to be throwing up balls from 28 feet.
Yeah.
You old now, bro. You got to realize that. Your game got to evolve.
Yeah, I think that Father Time catches everyone at some point, but do you still think he's the best player in this generation? Do you still think he's top? Or
in what generation?
I mean, playing now, I'll put it that way.
No.
In recent and past.
No. I think we've seen during the course of these playoffs, there are a lot of great players in the league. KD is far ahead of him. Steph is far and ahead of him. Devin Booker, if he makes it to the finals and wins the chip, on your first go into the playoffs, he's going to be pretty much solidifying himself for a long, prosperous career. LeBron, don't get me wrong. I know it's going to come off like it's hate and whatever. I'm going to say this, purely out of, I've been watching the NBA. I'm 48 years old. I've been watching the NBA since I've been big enough to watch TV. I have seen some of the greatest players live and in person. I have seen some of the greatest players on television. There's nothing I can sit there and say that LeBron does consistently well enough for me to put him in any kind of GOAT conversation. Yeah, he won in Cleveland. Again, Draymond gets kicked out the game. That's how you win. Kyrie saved you. They give you the MVP. That's why Kyrie left Cleveland. Because Kyrie like, hold up, I'm the one who won this. You didn't do that. I'm the one who hit the shot. You didn't do that.
So do you think LeBron's, I guess, claim to fame is it, does he make players around him better? Does he draw attention to himself and he can dish to the other players? I mean, you got to give him credit now. He took some, I mean, not Allen Iverson, but he took some teams that were kind of, yeah, and took them farther than they were supposed to go.
People give LeBron this great because he took that Cleveland Cavaliers team to that first NBA Finals against San Antonio. I will sit here and say that Iverson took a worse team than that Cleveland team.
You can't name 3 players off that Philly team.
Varejao, Ilgauskas, that's about all I can name.
Yeah,
Boobie Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
But Allen Iverson took a far worse team to the NBA Finals and won a game. Won a game on the Lakers floor. You know what I'm saying?
And Shaq and all them.
Yeah. You know, that's why I give Iverson way more credit as far as being just that type of fella. And then a lot of people try to say, you know, we get on LeBron because he ain't got that dog in him. But
he's a different type of player.
He is not what everybody try to make him into, and that's the thing that frustrates me so much. I want a fella that will take the dagger out his back pocket and stick it in your heart, bro. And I have never seen him do that. Dwayne has done it. Dwayne has done it. Kobe's done it. Trae Young is doing it right now. KD definitely has done it. You know, that's what sets him apart, you know, because if you sat there and you went all-time greatest starting 5, where is he going? Where is he going? All-time starting 5. There's no place for him to go. Because if you go all-time starting 5, your point guard more often than not is going to be Magic Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Your shooting guard is Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan all day.
Your small forward is going to be who?
Timmy.
Do you even put Timmy at small forward?
Mm-hmm.
I say Bird.
Yeah.
Okay. Your power forward,
Timmy,
and your center. Which one?
Yeah, you got a long list. You can go.
Which one? Which one gonna play center? Because half of me say Kareem, the other half say Wilt, and the other parts of me say the daddy. Then the other part say, well, Bill Russell. You know, so I'm going down the list. He can't even come off the bench, bro. He can't even come off the bench.
So who's your second team be?
Second team point guard would probably be second team point guard. Boy, you got me on that one. Second team point guard. And there's a lot of cats I can go to. You know, Mark Jackson, Mo Cheeks, Stockton.
What about Sharif
Abdul-Rahim?
Yeah.
Chris Jackson. I mean, there's so many, you know, but shooting guard, the Mamba, you know, small forward, Dominique.
Yeah.
Power forward, Charles Barkley. Center, again, which one?
Well, since you name all those up top, I got to put Elijah Wan in there somewhere.
That's the point I'm making. Which one?
Yeah.
Because at center, at no other position in the NBA, at center, there are so many fellas that you can name. You sitting there like, which one? Because whatever one you don't put first, you still got to fight. Who are going to get the second team? Because that's just how good they are. And then we ain't even talk about some of the fellas that just been dominant in their careers. A Gary Payton, a Sean Kemp, a Karl Malone.
James Worthy.
Of course. North Carolina. But you know, like I say, you know, I think this year more than anything has shut up the GOAT conversation. And I always preface my GOAT conversation when I say it like this here. LeBron has never made me come home to watch him play basketball. But when I was growing up, all you had to say was Bulls on tonight.
Oh, like you watching Jordan.
We ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. And depending on who they're playing, you're definitely not going anywhere.
If they were playing the Hawks, I know where I was going to be.
Mhm.
Mike and Dominique playing.
I'm watching. I'm watching Spud.
I'm watching these boys play tonight.
I'm watching Spud Webb do his thing.
You know, and that's been the difference. You know, even now in this era of basketball, I have found myself staying home to watch Golden State more so than I'm paying LeBron some attention. You know, it has been Golden State, not paying LeBron attention. That's why I say there, you know, he is for this generation's kids, you know, they look up to him. For the last generation kids, they look at the Mamba. For us, you know, it's a combination of Jordan, Dr. J, like that.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I like Kobe and everything, but man, D Wade was my guy, man. I love
Dwayne too. Now don't get me wrong. It took me a long time to get to the point where I could give Kobe a lot of credit because I felt like Kobe was the beneficiary of playing with the daddy.
Right.
You know, you're supposed to win when you're playing with the most dominant player in the basketball league. Yeah. But when he won by himself, that changed the mindset of some things. And then as Kobe got older, I saw a change in him. So that kind of, you know, made me look at him a different way than it was when right after him and Shaq had broke up. Because I'm like, why are you breaking that up, man? Because that was unstoppable.
That's true. Yeah, they were poised to dominate for a long time.
Right.
Definitely.
Right. You know, and you know, just looking at, you know, where we are with the league right now, I think the league is in the best shape it's been in a long time. NBA has some nice young talent that's going to be around for a while, and I'm looking forward to watching these cats grow.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, they playing a good brand of basketball. Everybody has at least one star. I ain't gonna call them superstars, but everybody got at least one star that you can build around. So it's not where one team is dominant. I don't think you're gonna see a lot of teams get multiple players again because it takes special players to play like that.
Yeah, I mean, you look at most of you know, because it's kind of funny to me. I started thinking about, you know, and I thought about, you know, all the commotion they made when LeBron and Chris Bosh joined D Wade and Miami, the super team. You know, before then you had Kevin Garnett, you had Ray Allen, and you had Paul Pierce. But when I was growing up, man, I started thinking about that thing. Everybody was a super team.
Everybody had a super team.
Everybody. I mean, you look at the Lakers. You look at, like you said, the Supersonics. I mean, the Utah Jazz. You look at Charlotte, quiet as kept. You had Grandmama and Alonzo Mourning for a minute.
And Kendall Gill. You know what I'm saying? Them boys.
JL too.
And the only reason the Hornets couldn't win was because of the fact every year they had to play the Bulls in the first round.
Yeah.
You wasn't gonna beat the Bulls. No. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, everybody back when we were growing up had a super team. You know, every team that played had at least 3 stars on the team. You know, it's not like how it is now. You know,
the only person that jumped ship was Charles Barkley. That was the only one.
That was the only one. You know, and then he went to Phoenix and made the Suns a great team.
Yeah.
You know, so it was never one of those things where you know, you can sit there and say, well, they ain't got no super team. No, everybody had 3 superstars, and you played with role players, and whoever was good enough to come out of it, that's how you came out of it. I mean, if you look at it, I make the comparison like this: the Detroit Pistons are 88, 89, and 90 couldn't win in this era of basketball.
If they could foul like they used to, they would.
I'm saying in this era of basketball, they could not win in this era of basketball.
Yeah, because the rules have changed too much, and they don't allow them to play.
Right, they don't allow them to play, and Zeke and Dumas ain't gonna be able to score enough to get them over the hump.
No. Dennis Rodman get him the rebound still. I mean,
that's because he wasn't gonna score. That's all he did was rebound.
He's ejected after the first quarter every game.
Right. So you know, you look at how basketball has changed. Some of it for the good, but some, you know, I do like when playoff time come, they let them
play a little bit more.
They let them get at it a little bit, and I think that's necessary though. Now you don't want no 80, 84, 85 game, but at the same time, you don't want no 149, 150 either. No. With the games how they are now, 110, 113, somewhere in there, that you didn't put a stop in somewhere,
So how much do you think I know all things evolve. It's like with football. I mean, back in the day, long time ago, earlier in the days of football, those guys had regular jobs too. They play on Sunday, they go back to work. How much do you think the financial aspect, the business aspect of it has changed the game? You got players that they worrying more about their brand and going out there and playing ball. Jordan, he wanted to suit up every night because somebody might come to watch him. He's got to put a show on for his fans. But now you resting players, this thing and that thing. Is that really a good look? And especially since these guys are making more money. Jordan wasn't the highest player in the league until his final, 2-3 years?
Final 2 years. That's when he was the highest paid player. Mike didn't need him though. Mike didn't need him. Mike endorsements. But I don't think it's good for the league just because of the fact. Take for instance, like us, like you in Atlanta, and I'm here close to Charlotte. Mm-hmm. We save our money, to go see certain people play. We don't want to go watch every game, but if the Nets come into town, I want to go see the Nets. I don't want to be there and KD ain't playing, because I don't want to see James Harden play. I don't want to see Kyrie play. I want to see KD. When Golden State comes to town, they only come once a year. When they come, I want to see Steph, Clay, all the boys.
What if he's on minutes restriction? What if he's not playing that night? That's the thing. There's money wasted.
They made these things, now that's one of the things I don't think the Warriors have done during their run. They hadn't cheated the fans. They play all the time. The only time they don't play, they hurt. But for some of these cats, man, now I've never seen LeBron play in person. I've seen every other current superstar play in person except LeBron. But at the same time, I've never once said I want to go to Charlotte to see when he was in Cleveland. I never wanted to go. When he was in Miami, I never wanted to go. Now when Dwayne and Shaq was together in Miami, oh yeah, we going to see that. Because it was a spectacle. That's what I wanted to see. When Kobe and Shaq was with the Lakers, we going to Charlotte to see them play the Lakers. That was the difference. But one of the things the NBA got to get a handle on, and these boys have it easier now than back in the day, because they used to play 4 games in 5 nights, and play every game. These cats here got it spread out a whole lot more. They might get a back-to-back here and there, but you ain't playing no 4 and 5.
But I don't want to draw a parallel to it, but it's kind of like football too in a way, because you got the players now, they're bigger, stronger, faster. Basketball, they're more explosive. Save for Michael Jordan had a 48-inch vertical. That's not going to happen anymore. But you have more athletic. The NBA as a whole is more athletic now. So injuries are part of it. They're more explosive. They spend a lot of time in the air. They come down hard. But does that have a play in it as well?
You have to.
That's right.
You have to. One of the things I see that's lacking from a lot of these guys is you can tell who done worked on their game in the summer and who ain't. Mm-hmm. And what I see from a lot of fellas is your game still look like it did last year, so I know you ain't put in the work. You might have went to the gym, but you wasn't putting in the work.
You didn't put it on. You didn't try anything new. You didn't get comfortable with being uncomfortable to push yourself to that next level.
Because you got to figure like this here. There are, these cats have access to nutritionists, personal trainers, all of these things that really back in the day, these cats didn't have. Man, back in the day, these cats smoking cigarettes at halftime, man.
Drinking beer after the game, yeah. During the game, drinking, and still get you 40. And that's the difference. It's just a mentality, and it's all about generational stuff. It's just a mentality. If I was in that situation and I know people paying money to come see me, I'm gonna play. Whether I play the whole game or not, I'm gonna play.
because people spending their money to come see me,
Yeah.
I think you should play. Now, whether you play 10 minutes, 15, but I mean, for the most part, in the regular season, you don't play the whole game anyway. So why you putting yourself on minutes restrictions and everything like that when you could play this game? You play if you play 5 minutes a quarter, you didn't did what you're supposed to do.
I think it goes back to business. I mean, they've invested that money. They want to make sure they get a return on that investment. If I got you for 5 years, I want to reduce your chances of injury or getting hurt. But like you said, there's a flip side of that. And that's why you have nutritionists, trainers, things like that. You condition your body to go the long haul so you won't. You have recovery treatments after the game and all that stuff. I mean, they have access to the latest technology. So yeah, my thought is, and of course I don't play, but if you got access to all that, why not play? Why put yourself in a minute? Now, if you're injury prone, that's one thing. But if you're healthy and we're just resting you because we want to keep you healthy for the playoff run or playoff push, no, that's not what it's about.
Nah, the only time these cats used to take off might have been that last week of the season, especially if they seed was already set. They might take off them last 2 games. But if you go back and you read the back of a lot of these cats' cards, they would always be 80, 81, 82 games. It was very seldom it'd be 70 something.
Well, did the 72-10 Bulls, any of those players take off? They played, right?
They played all the time. The only time that I know Michael missed one of those games because he had got in a fight with Reggie Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, Mike played 82 games. The only time Mike didn't play 82 games was that first year when he got hurt.
And then he still tricked him into letting him play.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, Mike always knew what was what. And as much as Shaq, in his early days and in his days with the Lakers, Shaq never took a game off. Him and Kobe was always, because they knew, hey, we the show. Everybody coming to see us.
And they genuinely love the game of basketball.
Well, and that's the thing. Basketball, even though it's a business, they love basketball.
Right.
It was a joy for them to be out there.
Right.
They didn't have to. They didn't worry about stuff at that point. Where these cats here, they think more about, like you say, about their brand and what they putting out there, versus, I got a love for the game. Game making me money. That's the thing. That's why. That's why I saw it today. Michael Jordan ain't played in 18 years, but he still got the #1 selling shoe.
Yeah.
In the league. Ain't played in 18 years, but that's the thing. When LeBron quit, hey, we ain't still gonna be buying LeBrons. I don't buy them now.
They might, man. They might.
Nah, bro, I don't buy them now. And and if Vanessa, when the got rid of the contract with Nike, you still was gonna get Kobe's.
Yeah. So I think Nike did that though, didn't it?
No, Vanessa did that. She didn't. She decided not to re-up.
She needed to re-up. But I guess she's gonna capitalize on it for herself though.
Maybe, but Nike, for the most part, giving Jordan his own brand was the smartest move they could have ever did. And now you see it as multiplied more than they ever could have thought of.
And Jordan didn't even like Nike. He was an Adidas guy.
He was an Adidas guy because that's what North Carolina used to wear. And then now, I mean, the University Blue is the stuff now, bro.
That's it. Best well.
Hey, it's North Carolina. That's all you got to do. But Nike was made, by Jordan. And really, when it comes to basketball, you got to throw Michigan in there too.
Well, yeah, that's true. Fab Five.
The Fab Five is what made Nike the powerhouse that they are now.
The baggy shorts,
the black shoes, black socks. Michigan nobody else will ever get to that. Because even the Running Rebels back then, I think they were either Reebok or Converse back then.
I think it might have been Converse.
I think it was Converse. And right now, Nike own Converse. So, but see, the first athletic shoe that I always wanted. Everybody say Chuck Taylor, but nah, I wanted a pair of Dr. J All-Stars, man, because those were sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Way to go,
All
man.
right.
Way to go. Let's go ahead and put a bow on this thing,
All
man.
right, man.
Good conversation as always.
Well, let me see. Let me pull this up right quick. Let me see where we at from a game standpoint.
I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta's up. Stranger things have happened.
I understand. Hey, like I say, I am very proud of the Hawks, man.
And at halftime, the score is 38-51. Atlanta's up.
Atlanta's up. So, hey, you know, so they doing what they need to do. If this game gets 2-2, we know we got 7 games. You know, that's good for the league, but it's not good for Giannis.
And the thing about it is Trae Young is not playing.
Oh my God, stop playing.
He's not playing. He's
not. So everybody's stepping up. Now, see, that's what I like.
Lemon Pepper Lou.
Lemon Pepper Lou, baby. Lemon Pepper Lou.
Both for phone field goals.
Hey, when he get back, I know where he going.
Yeah, I'll buy him for him, man. I'm telling you.
Hey, I wanted to keep going though. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, this brings us to the end, folks. We thank y'all for hanging out with us. You know, hope you like the NBA. We love the NBA. So, you know, it was a good time to bring this together. You know, real good conversation, good insight, you know, and I hope you all enjoy it.
All right. And on that note, we'll see you all next time.
All righty then. I holla.